boys and girls, my goal is 1 million subscribers by the end of the year, so please click that subscribe button. And also, don't forget to check out my second channel, linked in the description down below.
Hello everyone, I can't lie, this feels quite strange uploading on this channel again. It's been a very long time since I last posted a video, and I'm a little bit nervous, I can't lie, but I thought I'd come back with a very important one, and that is my 6-month hair update. I've had so many people asking how it's gone, can you show us an update and whatnot. And well, if you have been following me on my second channel where I've been posting daily FIFA content, you basically have seen my hair grow in real time. But for those of you who haven't, and I know there's a lot of you out there who aren't subscribed to my second channel, this is the video where I show you the 6 months hair update, okay? And without further ado, I think we reveal the hair and take off this silly hat in 3, 2, 1. Hello, this is it, 6 months after. I'm actually really happy with it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see it a little bit more. Honestly, looking back at it over the last 6 months, this is the best thing I have ever done. I am so happy I did this. I cannot thank International Hair Studio enough. They've been so helpful and accommodating with me, and they've really made this transplant just go as smoothly as possible. And I'm just looking at it now. It's pretty mad. I'm going to talk you through exactly how the 6 months have gone. I'll show you some photos, but as I said, first up, this is how it looks. I had a total of 3,000 grafts, and I had something called an FUE hair transplant, okay? So if you haven't watched my first video where I go over the procedure and the first 2 or 3 weeks of dealing with the hair transplant, I really do recommend going ahead and watching that video before you watch this video. Now, diving straight into it, once I got out of that 2-3 week period where all the scabs had disappeared off my head, I definitely say my confidence grew. I still wasn't really going out without a hat on. It was around Christmas time I started going out without the hat on because I realised that, like, mate, these are so common and no one cares that you're bald. Okay, no one cares. It is perfectly normal to be bald or to have had a hair transplant. Before I sort of show you through the photos and whatnot and like the actual month by month of how it looked, obviously it goes without saying, like, I do actually need a haircut. My hair on the side is getting very curly. Look how long that is. Like, I haven't had a haircut in about 3 months since before lockdown started. My last haircut was literally in the middle of March. Now, it has actually been about 6 months since my hair transplant, and 3 of those months obviously we've been spent in lockdown, which means I couldn't go do my laser therapy, which I was doing every single week. Now, laser just helps the growth and the thickness of the hair, so obviously I haven't done that laser for 3 months. So to have it looking like this after 6 months and not really using the laser because it's been closed, very happy with it. One positive is that IHS are opening very soon, so I can start going back to my laser and also go get a haircut finally from them. But anyways, enough talking, let's crack on with the photos and whatnot. Now, the first photo I'm going to show you is the back of my head. A lot of people said, was there scarring, whether it be on the top or at the back? And to be honest, no, absolutely no scarring. Within like the first month or two, as you can see, this was taken on the 6th of December. So this is only like 3 weeks after. It had healed up pretty quickly. And this photo here taken on the 13th, you can see that I'm looking like an egg. But I'm rocking it. I went out and played football with no hat on, and I loved it, to be honest. And actually, I sort of like, this is quite ironic, but when I had the shaved head and when it was growing back in the early stages, I sort of quite liked it. Like, I didn't have to bother about styling my hair or worrying about what it would look like when the wind blows it, because I had that receding bit. So it was actually quite a blessing in disguise, actually, to have like a bald head for a while. Now, speaking again of the back of the head, this is now on the 21st of December. This was actually when my mate gave me a haircut, because I don't know why he gave me a haircut. I think we did it for like a TikTok or something stupid like that. But as you can see, it's starting to thicken at the back now. You can see little patches where the back of there just hasn't grown back. But if I show it to you right now, I hope you'll be able to see it. As you can see, it is fully thick and back to normal, and it came back literally after like 2 months, the back of the hair. It's quite interesting looking through these photos, because every single time I'd take a photo, I'd think like, oh wow, it's looking good already, it's looking good. And then like in 2 weeks time, after I've taken that original photo, I take another photo and I think, wow, it's looking even better. And the previous photo, I'd think, oh, it doesn't look that good. Does that make sense? So every time I took a photo and saw an update, I could see it getting better and thought the other version was not as good. Now, on the 20th of January, I took this photo, and you can see how the middle bit here is starting to grow back a lot faster than the sides. That's because obviously before my hair transplant, I was receding a lot more, and I was a lot more bald here and here. So obviously naturally I had more hair here, and it was a little bit thicker, so it grew back faster. As you can see now, it is still a little bit thin here, but it is, again, only 6 months into the entire process. Like, I won't actually see the full result until about 9 to 12 months in. So far, as I said, we're only 6 months in. I'm very, very happy, and I'm quite excited to see how much it thickens out and gets a lot better when it comes to around a year into the treatment. Now, one thing I did have personally to me was I went through about a month and a half of having these spots on my head. That was caused, again, by some ingrowns and just, I think, a little bit of dirt getting in the pores. But this was taken on the 26th of January. And if you look very closely, in the middle, you can see there's slightly yellowy scabs rather than the bloody scabs. And those yellowy scabs have stuck around for the whole entire thing. But that's just the skin healing. At the end of the day, it was a procedure, so it's going to take a little while to heal, and I do have, I think, only like 2 or 3 of these scabs left over. I can feel them on my head here. I still have some of them, but the majority of them have gone. The spots, obviously, so when I had these, I would wear a hat the majority of the time, and obviously you don't want to expose it too heavily to sunshine. And actually, these photos you're watching right now were all taken in Miami, which is a very sunny place, so a lot of the time when I was out there, I was wearing a hat. You can see this photo here, which was taken on, I think, like Sky Sports Live TV. I'm rocking the head. I'm rocking the head in public on whilst doing my job, and you can see as well that how this bit here still hasn't grown back as much as the front, and it took a little while for that to happen. This photo was taken on the 29th of January, and my actual procedure was on the 18th of November, so this is just over 2 months after it. I was very cautious with my cleaning of the hair in the shower. I was very, very delicate. I think that's one thing why I'm really happy with it, is that I was overly careful. I was doing exercise when I was allowed to, start sweating again. I was eating right. I was being so careful. Some would say overly cautious when washing my hair and stuff like that. Now, this photo is an interesting one because you can see that suddenly on the back of my head, there's no hair. I accidentally got a skin fade rather than a 0.5 fade I usually get. So I wasn't that bothered. It was interesting to see what the hair would look like, and actually it's a good indicator to see that, yes, there are a few little scabs on the back of the hair, but no scarring, healing up very, very well. I wasn't afraid to rock it at this point. We're approaching mid-February, so close to 3 months after the procedure now, and as you can see, it's starting to come along nicely. I've still got very, very short hair. It's not filled out on the sides, but I remember walking around, and part of me was a little bit self-conscious, but I remember thinking to myself that no one's batting an eyelid. It's perfectly normal. No one's staring. The only thing I was self-conscious was that some of the spots turned to scab. But that's just a natural healing process at the end of the day. And this is what I'm talking about when I refer to those yellowy scabs. It's literally just a layer of skin that has healed the hair follicles, and they come off over time. Don't pick them. If you do have a hair transplant, you get them, don't pick them. They'll come off naturally, and it's important you just let them do their own thing. But when they do come off, don't be afraid to see a couple of hairs attached to them. It's not from the root. You're going to be perfectly fine. And that's actually one thing I do stress, is that if you do get a hair transplant, and the same as me, you are going to experience some shedding, some hair loss throughout it. And that's just perfectly natural. Now, stepping into March, the hair is starting to get a little bit longer. Every time I went to get a haircut, I'd only get the sides. I wouldn't let them touch the top because I still thought in my head it's very, very delicate. I want to let it grow out as much as possible. You can see as well, these spots are pretty much gone going into the middle of March now, which I was very, very happy about. And I was getting back into my running, and this was all before lockdown and everything started. So I was doing my laser treatment every single week, which obviously helps the repair, the growth, everything to do with that. And I was starting to really, really be very happy with how it was progressing. And this was the first photo, 16th of March this was taken, that I came out of the barber's with a fresh trim, a fresh beard trim, and I was like, wow. I don't know if it's just, but like, I'm really proud of this photo. It looks so good. This side was looking quite full in the photo. I was so happy with this, and I was like, wow, I'm so glad I made the decision to go get a hair transplant. I was so happy. And from about the 15th, middle of March, that's when things really started. I started to notice a big difference. I was getting a lot of people messaging me on Instagram, on Twitter. This photo, 23rd of March, the day before lockdown began. I was outside in the sun, soaking it up, playing football, filming videos, and I was just taking a couple of hair photos just to document it the day before lockdown begun, and that was the last time that week that I could get laser therapy until now. So they've reopened again, which is fantastic news. But as you can see here, I was just updating it. You can see in this photo, which was taken on the 26th of March, how the hairline is coming along nicely. So the hairs at the front are growing back a lot faster than the hairs slightly further back, and you see there's a few patches in the head there. But that, again, I've asked them, I said to IHS, like, how come they're growing a lot faster at the front along the hairline and rather at the back? I said it's perfectly normal. Everyone experiences that. So again, this is why I'm so excited to see how it looks at the end of the year after about 12 months of this journey that I'm on. But towards the end of March, beginning of April, I really started getting into my running, and that was when I noticed that when I was running, my hair would start to like stick up, and I was like, wow, this has never happened to me before. Because previously, when I had like my thinner hair, receding hair, when I would go for runs, it wouldn't stick up. Like, it just wouldn't, it just like flopped to the side because it wasn't that thick, didn't have much volume to it. But now, it's got a lot more volume to it, and when I do go outside in the wind, in the running, whatever, it sticks up. I quite like it. It's showing the volume on the hair, which I enjoy, and I was going out, playing football, not being self-conscious. I wasn't wearing hats, which was the main thing. Like, when I was running or going outside, I just wear hats everywhere because I know the wind was going to take my hair and it would look bad. But now, I don't do any of that. I embrace the wind, I embrace the hair. In this photo, the hair is starting to look a little bit more fuller. Still, naturally, my hair is quite thin, but it's looking a lot fuller than before. And you can see those scabs once more. There's no blood or anything, it's just like the layer of skin scab. And this was taken on the 6th of April, and those came off relatively quickly, those big ones actually. We're now heading towards mid-April, end of April, and the hair is really starting to come through here, getting that volume. It's starting to slick up here, and the sides are starting to grow out here as I sort of start to need a haircut actually. And to be honest, I'm just getting on with my life now. I don't even notice it. It's just like, at first it took a while to get used to. Now I'm just like, this is me, this is who I am. I've had a hair transplant and this is what my hair looks like, and it's only going to get better from here. So there's no more running with hats on. There's now running with no hat on, and my hair getting taken in the wind. As you can see, a lot of thumbs up in these photos. A lot of these photos were just taken for Strava. If you haven't followed me on Strava, by the way, definitely follow me and keep up to date with my running. But we're now approaching mid-May and coming up to date to the full 6 months here. I've even had to start towards the end of May having to wear a headband when running because the hair is just like flopping down and doing all sorts of things. I'm wearing a headband to keep the sweat out my eyes, but I quite enjoy it. Because with the headband, it sticks the hair up, and it makes me look like I got, I don't know, a more fuller head of hair than before. Now, before I go ahead and answer some of your questions you sent in on Instagram, there's only one thing that I need to do right now, and that is finally go get myself a haircut. So I had this whole bit planned of showing you the footage of Chip, my housemate, cutting my hair, which, by the way, I think he's done a really, really good job. Like, there's no fade, is there really? But to be honest, mate, I am so happy with it. Yeah, I had all this footage of Chip giving me a haircut. Go to check it. Oh! Corrupted! But in terms of, like, doing the job, I think he's done a smashing job, lads. So big up Chip for helping me out with a little haircut for this video. But mate, looking at myself in this camera right here, I'm so happy. I am so happy. I can't wait for when barbers reopen again and I can get myself a proper haircut. Mate, that looks so much better than when I was filming this video before. Sorry, this is the first time I've probably looked at it after getting the haircut from Chip. Anyways, I've got some questions here, which you guys sent in from Instagram, so I'm going to try and answer as many as I can, as quick as I can for the end of this video. Oscar Oxford asks, did it hurt? Now, I answered this in the previous video. On the day, it didn't really hurt. It was just a bit long and uncomfortable. And when I did start to feel the actual injections and everything they were doing to my head, they just gave me some more numbing injection. I can't remember what it's called. Cambo_skills asked, how many grafts did I get? Now, I've already answered this. The answer is 3,000 grafts on the back of my head. Finley asked, have I been questioned in public about my hair? Now, it's only happened to me once, and I mentioned this in my last video. Some bloke at Tesco's asked me if I'd had a hair transplant because it was only a few weeks after I got it. It was very noticeable. And I talked to him all about it, and he was very intrigued about it. Actually, I think he wanted one himself. That was the only time. I've had a few people come up to me and saying, "Oh, your hair looks great now," which is really, really, really heartwarming from them. Dylan Verakia says, "Has your hair grown as thick as you expected it to?" Good question. I didn't really know how thick my hair was going to be because naturally I have quite thin hair. Now, look, obviously it's a little bit thinner here where it wasn't. Where it was worse, the balding was worse here before. But in terms of like thickness now, it looked like, for me anyway, obviously some of you may disagree, but it looks more fuller now, and I'm very happy with how thick it is, and it will only get better. Like, as the more follicles and stuff grow and develop, it will only get better than it is already looking now. Matt Harrison says, "Are you happy with how IHS have handled your treatment during the COVID period?" Honestly, yes. Like, they've been checking in on me, see how I've been doing. Obviously, for 3 months, I couldn't have the laser therapy, which is a bit frustrating, but they're opening very, very soon. And I'm just excited to get back to getting my laser therapy. They kept me up to date with my supplements I'm taking. So, yeah, honestly, like, they've been really, really helpful to me during the COVID period. I think I've answered most of these questions within this video or in the previous video, but the final one comes from Cameron Stephen. He says, "Really happy for you with your hair transplant, mate. Takes a pair to get one. Bring back the weekly vlogs." Now, I have something in the works that is going to be quite big, okay? Not necessarily weekly vlogs. I'm going to incorporate the weekly vlog aspect into one half of this thing coming soon. But all I'm saying is, when the season starts up again, stay tuned. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on. Big things are coming to this channel, and I'm so excited. But yeah, if you have any more comments or questions for me, either message me on Instagram or leave a comment down below. I'll try and answer as many of you as possible. I've honestly, throughout this entire like 6 months journey, I've never had so many positive messages and feedback, and a lot of you guys were opening up about men's balding issues, like getting a hair transplant. A lot of your stories you're telling me, so I really do appreciate it. But yeah, as I said, leave your thoughts and comments or questions down below, and I'll try and get a discussion going. But yeah, I can't thank International Hair Studio enough. Like, they've been absolutely amazing. If you want to find out more information about them, I'll leave them in the description. But this is where I'm going to end the video. I probably should have done this whole video with a haircut, because I'm sure the first half of it I looked a bit scruffy. But anyways, I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.